A Ukrainian Bayraktar TB2 drone destroyed a Russian landing force. Then it all began. June 24, 2025, 4:14 a.m. local time. The western waters of the Black Sea, near where the Dnipro River flows into it. The sky was already turning pale, preparing to greet the sun within the hour. Complete silence, broken only by the rhythmic hum of an engine. A Russian landing craft was closing in on the coastline. On board were 30 Marines. Their faces were tense. This was the fourth year of a brutal war between Russia and Ukraine. More than enough time to realize the war would not be the easy 3-day march to Kyiv they'd once been promised. Now, they knew they were more likely to die than return home with medals and honors. Their objective today was clear: land undetected, eliminate Ukrainian observation posts at the river delta, and withdraw. But already, 18,000 feet above them, a Ukrainian Bayraktar TB2 drone was silently circling. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain: this would not be a quiet day in that part of the sea. In the words of Kipling, it would be a glorious hunt, though for many, it will be the last. Earlier that night, at 2 a.m., the Russian landing craft had already covered half the distance from its launch point near Kyiv, and was about 35 to 40 miles from the Kipling spit. That's where the Bayraktar TB2 took off. It was in no hurry. Its lightweight Rotax 912 engine purred almost inaudibly as the drone moved forward at around 80 miles per hour, slipping through an invisible corridor in the enemy's air defense system. The route was calculated down to the mile and was not to come within 30 miles of any S-300 surface-to-air missile systems. Russian forces had densely packed the occupied Kherson region with these systems. The S-300's radar had a theoretical detection range of 180 miles, but that was against conventional aircraft. Bayraktar, due to its radar signature, resembled a large bird, so the effective range against it was only around 30 miles. By now, Ukrainian forces had long adapted their operations to the technical specifics of Russian weaponry. There had been enough mistakes, enough lost drones to learn from. Too many TB2s were shot down during the early stages of the war. At 18,000 feet, the drone reached its assigned patrol zone, a rectangle spanning roughly 25 by 12 miles, covering the key maritime routes leading to the Dnipro estuary. Equipped with a Canadian-made MX-15D camera system, the operator could see in both optical and infrared modes. He could spot everything, even a seagull hunting for sprats. Everyone's hunting someone in this world. That's just how it works. From his concealed command post on the outskirts of Kyiv, the drone operator kept his eyes locked on the monitor. The digits in the corner of the screen changed slowly, counting off the long, monotonous hours of surveillance. But in war, like in fishing, the boredom always comes before the real drama. The TB2 flew autonomously, zigzagging its way across the patrol area. The optical display showed only the sea. The thermal imaging screen was a cold, gray-black field, interrupted occasionally by a warm splash, a passing bird. But at 3:47, everything changed. A distinct, elongated thermal trace appeared, bright and moving fast. A vessel. The operator quickly switched to zoom mode and confirmed it: a Project 1177 Cerna-class landing craft, a fast assault boat capable of transporting 92 infantry troops or an armored vehicle. The camera didn't pick up any people on deck, but a ship like that doesn't sail out for no reason. The Cerna-class boat is a naval assault capsule, low silhouette, water jet propulsion, speeds up to 30 knots, and the ability to drive straight onto an unprepared shoreline. It's built for surprise. It carries troops into places where no one expects them, then disappears into the mist before it's too late. Within minutes, 2 more vessels appeared on the same course about 3 miles away. All signs pointed to one thing: an amphibious landing. This was not going to be a dull shift. By 4:10 a.m., the picture was perfectly clear. The boats weren't just heading for land, they were locked onto a specific target: the mouth of the Dnipro River, toward the shore west of Kyiv. Just last week, Ukrainian intelligence had reported unusual activity in that exact area, a spike in radio chatter. Small boats moving under cover of night, strange radar echoes. All of it looked like the early signs of a covert landing. And now the TB2 operator saw the confirmation with his own eyes. He picked up a secure satellite phone and reported directly to the operations center of Ukraine's 383rd Unmanned Aviation Brigade. Seconds passed, then minutes. No immediate order came. And then the operator understood why. Launching a strike with this drone wasn't just pulling the trigger, it was laying your cards on the table. Striking now meant revealing that Ukraine could conduct precision surveillance and fire missions even in the Kyiv Spit area, a zone the Russians considered a dead zone for drones. After that, the enemy would adjust. They'd reroute traffic, move their air defenses, scramble jets, change tactics. But if they didn't strike, the team would land, carry out their mission, and vanish, leaving behind nothing but smoke, wreckage, and the bodies of Ukrainians. Churchill had faced a similar dilemma once. British intelligence had cracked Nazi Germany's Enigma code and learned that a massive bombing raid on Coventry was imminent. But acting on that knowledge would expose that Enigma had been broken. Churchill chose not to warn the city. He sacrificed Coventry to protect the greater strategic asset, the ability to read the enemy's thoughts. So what choice would Ukrainian command make? Permission granted, proceed, came the voice over the satellite link. Ukraine chose not to sacrifice its own people. The TB2 immediately received its orders. The operator disengaged patrol mode and initiated a wide left turn to maneuver directly behind the enemy column, aligning for the best possible attack angle. The Turkish-made MAM-L missiles aboard the drone relied on semi-active laser guidance, and the best approach was to attack along the axis of the target's movement. That minimized the need for mid-flight corrections and maximized accuracy. The lead boat was holding a precise course of 330 degrees at 30 knots. A perfect target. Predictable. Exposed. The operator selected it. In operations like this, you always strike the head of the column. It cuts off coordination, causes panic, breaks the chain of command. On the thermal display, the boat grew larger. The cameras showed every detail: the communications mast, the turret, the hatches, even the hull number. Still no visible crew. But deep inside the vessel, a dense cluster of heat signatures revealed itself. It was the landing force. Only dozens of human bodies could emit a thermal trace like that. The operator flicked off the safety on the control panel and opened the launch interface. From that moment, time began to pass differently. Minutes compressed into seconds. The drone's camera locked the target in its crosshairs. The laser rangefinder read 7.6 miles, or 12.3 kilometers. They had to wait just a little longer. The ideal strike range for the MAM-L missile was 5 miles, or 8 kilometers, and closer. The TB2 continued maneuvering slowly, aligning its flight path perfectly with the vessel's heading. Through the screen, the operator saw everything: the hull number, the communications antennas, even the metal storage boxes fixed along the deck rails. The zoom was so precise, it felt like he could count the bolts. Then movement appeared on deck. One crew member stepped forward. 2 more followed, starting to set up what looked like a heavy machine gun. Was this just standard procedure before landing, or had they sensed something? Judging by their actions, there was no panic. It might have just been protocol for approaching a hostile shore. The operator checked the laser status. All indicators were green. Weather was ideal. Wind at altitude under 5 knots, no cloud cover. Instruments stable. All that remained was to wait for the range to close. 5.3, 5.1. 5 miles. They were in. He pressed the launch prep key. At that moment, the screen flashed red. Error. Laser guidance. Initialization failed. His heart skipped. The laser had dropped. Without it, the missile was blind. No lock. A glitch? A failure? It didn't matter. In that moment, there was only one option: a manual reset. He cut the laser targeting system and restarted it. 5 seconds. 10. The feed came back. The indicator turned green again. Laser guidance was restored. Range 4.9 miles. It was time. 0447. The target held steady in the center of the scope. Distance 4.8 miles. All systems green. His finger pressed the red button. The TB2 responded instantly. From beneath its wing, a small, elongated missile detached. A MAM-L, purpose-built for surgical strikes. Its fins unfolded midair as it shot downward, riding the invisible laser beam. The drone had to keep the beam locked on target until impact. Now came 31 seconds of waiting. Meanwhile, the missile raced forward, covering 800 feet, 250 meters every second, homing in on its prize, the Russian landing craft. 20 seconds to impact, then 10, 5, The operator saw one of the Russian Marines lift his head. For a split second, it seemed as if he looked straight into the operator's eyes. There was fear in his gaze. He raised his arm, mouth opening in a scream the Ukrainian couldn't hear, but the missile reached its final second. At exactly 0448 local time, it punched through the hull and detonated midship. A blinding flash. The 22-pound or 10-kilogram high-explosive warhead tore a massive hole through the boat's structure. But then came a second flash, blinding white. Long jets of fire shot up from the center of the vessel. What was that? Ammunition detonation? Unlikely. Gasoline? Definitely not. Thermite. These were demolition charges used to destroy equipment or infrastructure. Thermite burns at temperatures over 2,000 degrees Celsius. It can melt through concrete, let alone the light aluminum body of a landing craft. The vessel came apart. Flames shot dozens of meters into the sky. The TB2's camera captured the inferno consuming everything, even things that should not have burned. The hull plating, structural components, and inevitably, human flesh. This Dnipro-class boat wasn't just carrying a landing party, it was transporting a special forces team assigned to destroy Ukrainian observation posts and, judging by the thermite, likely key infrastructure targets as well. Based on the route, they were planning to operate along the Dnipro River delta. Now, all that remained of the team was smoldering metal and the charred bodies of soldiers. Emergency radio frequencies exploded with chaos, shouting, swearing, frantic orders to abort. The remaining two boats turned sharply and retreated at full speed toward Crimea, making no effort to approach the burning wreck or recover the dead. Within 24 hours, Russia halted all special operations in the western part of the Black Sea. Satellites confirmed the vessels had returned to Sevastopol. And once again, we're reminded of Kipling's words. It was a glorious hunt. What you've just heard is one of thousands of similar episodes in this war, one of the countless operations that happen every night, far from cameras, without press releases or official recognition. This is 21st century warfare, precise, high-tech, merciless. But at its core, it still runs on the oldest elements: fear, pain, death. Don't be fooled. Behind the brilliant flashes and sterile phrases like precision strike or high-accuracy munition, there's almost always a scorched body, molten metal, and the empty gaze of someone who will never return. War is not romantic. It doesn't elevate. It only destroys. It should never be glorified. It should be stopped. Even the worst peace is better than the most successful war. It's better to fish from the deck of a boat than to burn on one in thermite flames. Better to look toward the horizon than through a targeting scope. Better to argue in a parliament than to fight in a half-collapsed trench. There's still a chance to stop it all. The world's holding its breath, waiting to see where the pendulum will swing. And perhaps, with all his contradictions, stubbornness, and political instinct, Donald Trump may turn out to be the only one capable of ending this bloodshed. Because if he doesn't, someone else will, but not in the way we'd hope. Russia and China are no longer hiding. They're setting the terms, and if America doesn't show strength, both moral and military, what's left of the democratic world may simply be swept away by the rising tide of a new authoritarian era. And then it's goodbye to the liberal age, goodbye to a world where human rights, free speech, choice, and conscience matter. Hello to a world ruled by missiles, drones, and the law of the strong. If we allow that to happen, we will share in the blame. Do you agree with this? Tell us what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. We'd appreciate your like and your subscription to the channel. See you again soon.